Hey everyone, welcome back to Love and Golf, a podcast about our romantic, passionate, and sometimes twisted love affair with the game and the valuable lessons given us and what we give back to it. Now, guys, I'm really excited for this next guest. It's the first teaching professional to come on Love and Golf, but, and here's the but, Jake Hutt is not your ordinary teaching PGA professional. He will help you suck less. Those are his words, not mine. He will. But how he does that is so unique, from his communication style to his vibrant personality and how he really explains the golf swing. He truly simplifies the swing and the mechanics just to make it more digestible. How he does this is really, really honestly, guys, the content he creates is so unique and it's so to him that I want him to talk about it and him to get into it. But on top of all that content creation and teaching, he is an entrepreneur like me. He's a co-founder of Drivebox, a mobile golf simulator. So between the PGA teaching, the content creation, and entrepreneurship, I'm really excited to have Jake on, share his story, his love affair with golf, and hopefully there's one or two things we can learn from him. So without further ado, Jake, welcome to Love and Golf.
Appreciate you. Thanks so much for having me on, and I can't wait to get into talking about all things golf, entrepreneurship, the ups and downs, and all that amazing stuff that comes along with it. So again, thanks for having me,
bro. I hope we become fast friends. We've only just started talking, but I appreciate you taking the time. And you know, the cool. I was just telling Jake before when we were talking offline. The reason I'm doing Love and Golf, for those who don't know, it's because I've met so many interesting, passionate, crazy talented people in the golf space in the journey of MULLIE and starting that I've just kind of, in talking and networking, I've met these people in their sharing. There's so many unique stories that I was like, I gotta aggregate these and share them. And I'm gonna kind of learn on the fly with you guys. Like Jake, I kind of know you through what I see, but there's got to be a whole other side to you, man. So if you don't mind, let's just dive in and kind of start from the beginning. I'll tee up some questions, and I promise to keep this under an hour.
Sure.
But I would first love to hear, man, like what was your infection point with golf? How did you first find golf, and when did you get addicted to it?
So I would say, when I was playing college ice hockey out in Rhode Island, in between seasons, we'd all work outside service jobs at a course called Newport National. Awesome golf course. And so that's really kind of where, that's where I say in back of my head, I was like, I could do something in golf for a living. I loved, obviously, I just, you catch the bug, you want to get better. And then, the next course is just figuring out how, what does that look like? So I'd say that's like where it kind of like the bug really hit me. And I grew up playing golf, been playing golf since I was probably 12, 13. My dad was a big golfer. So I'd get dropped off, in the summer times, play all day, that kind of thing. So never taken a lesson before, had no idea what I was doing, just kind of figured it out, had fun, loved it. But obviously as I became more serious with hockey, played much less golf, and that really kind of threw it to the wayside until I was in college again. And that's when it kind of hit me. The head pro there, one of my good friends, he was a PGA member, really young dude, Andy. So he was really my first boss in the industry, and he was incredible. He was a young dude from Boston, had a great vision for kind of just how to treat his employees and also how to have fun and, just treat people right. The Bruins guys would come in and they'd all play, and it was just an unbelievable atmosphere with all the hockey guys working outside service. And then obviously we get out and go play. So that was just like, this is really, really cool. And this was well before like the big boom, before everyone had figured out, oh fuck, golf's the coolest shit ever. So that's kind of like, I'd say, that's where it all kind of began for me, where I was like, okay, you started asking him, how do I work in golf? What does that look like? What's the first step? What on earth is, how does getting your PGA certification, what does that look like? Is that even a thing? All the 10 billion questions that anyone would have. So he kind of helped walk me through that process, helped me get signed up. And then after I graduated, that's when, and I was old as fuck, by the way. So played 3 years of junior hockey. So I was 25, so really had no idea what I was doing, but knew I loved golf. I'd been playing music, producing that and, missing class, making songs. And so I had all these weird things going on, but got my first job at Stanford, got my apprenticeship there, or did my apprenticeship there. So, and feel free to stop me. I'm just rambling. So
I was taking a note, dude, because I want to make sure, because I hope a lot of your loyal fans, come your 180,000 on Instagram and probably more scoured on the internet, listen to this. But for those who don't really know Jake yet, you got to go check out Jake Hutt Golf. Jake Hutt Golf. Jake, JakeHuttGolf. So yeah, I can spell, guys. It is, dude. Like I am so. How do I say this? And for those listening again, I do tangents, so I promise to reel it back in. But I got to start here, like because I need you to bridge this gap. Hockey player, which by the way, I feel like a lot of athletes go to golf and they're really, really good at it. Like hockey players, baseball players can just smash the ball, like fucking smash. So that's another question for later. But you're looking at your page in this age where content is fucking king. Like it's not only king. If you don't make good original content, you are not going anywhere. Your content is so great and it's so original and it still teaches. And I think for someone like me with my ADD brain, I need someone like you. Like, hey, look, easy. And then you sing on top of it. You're rapping or dance, like the auto tune on top of it. So it's so digestible. It's like the best word I can say. But like, how in the fucking world and how did that start? Like, because then we're going to work backwards from like, hey, because I feel like teaching pro into where you are now, there's a big gap there.
Yeah. So I grew up playing music, being obsessed with it, producing. Like I remember, both my parents were musicians. Kind of mom, made me take piano lessons, said, you thank me later. So again, thank you, mom. Dad was a guitar player, both super into music. So like instruments were around the house, guitars, bass, everything was there just to fuck around. So I've just been doing that. Have loved it forever. I mean, there was one point where it was like, I wanted to either try Berklee School of Music or it was like continue to play hockey, one of the two. And I chose to continue and kind of stay on with hockey, but I was super serious about it. I love, I've loved music forever. And so there's that. And then before I go off on a tangent, let me make sure I'm answering the question right.
Bro, please go on every tangent you can. What gave you the idea and to make these pieces of content to what you are doing now?
So there's that music kind of background part there, and then kind of fast forward, music, whatever, hadn't really done anything, but the focus was, getting through this PGA stuff, whatever. Always did on the side, whatever. One day, I was just like, and this was early on. So I was at Stanford making videos, editing with an iPad at the back of the driving range.
Like every other teacher, like every other traditional teacher.
Just like stick it down there, like figure out how to communicate. And this was well before Reels. This was before really I saw many people doing anything short form because everything was on YouTube. Everything was super long, right? Everything was like,
yeah.
And I was just like, fuck, I cannot, like, I'd spend 10 minutes sifting through it, fast forwarding, rewinding it until I, got a nugget. And I was like, why don't you just say it? Like, so that's when that was kind of going into the social. I knew I had to start creating content. I don't know really why, but I kind of had this inkling, like, this is like 2018. So I was just like, I'm going to do the shortest snippets that just get right to the point and, suck a camera down. I remember the first day, like hitting record, standing there and just like being like, okay, this is really fucking awkward. I feel like an idiot. I have no idea what to say. So I just kind of started talking, rambling, and like, nothing good came of it. And it was like, I kind of watched it back and I was like, wow, I fucking suck at communicating. I'm a terrible communicator. I literally need to get like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I just started kind of like rehearsing exactly what I wanted to say. Cause to get it in like, I was going for like 15, 30 seconds. And if you want to put anything out that's any good, you have to have a kind of a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it has to be very thought through. You can't just like spitball something and have it, so I kind of crafted each one of them in my head as like kind of a little poem where it's like every word, there can't be a single word out of place. Like, I don't want to waste a single word. I want every word to mean something and I want it to have like, a meaning essentially. So I just started really rehearsing like in the bathroom, in the shower, fucking wherever, like exactly what I was going to say. And then, so when I got to the course, and oftentimes I wouldn't have a lot of time, it'd be between lessons or if I was like opening the shop or closing it or whatever. And so, I'd get there and know exactly what I was going to say. It was short, concise, and, wasn't wasting anyone's time, wasn't wasting any words. And that's kind of where it all started. And initially there wasn't any music to it, right? It was just it's funny looking back on them, like they're so bad, but I still kind of had the idea in my head. And so that's really where it started. And then the music part came from one day I was just kind of like, I don't know, walking around and I was humming something. And I was like, I want to play some G with my friends, but they won't invite me because I suck. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to record that and like throw a beat over it. And I'm just going to put it at the end of the tip. Right. And so that was kind of like early on. It was just like very simple, short tip, and then music at the end, something kind of funny. And then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. And this is maybe the first learning lesson of the episode. It's crazy that like when we start something, whether it's like a business or a service or any venture really, like we kind of have an idea of what's going to make it different or what's going to make it interesting. But the evolution, like the idea, you have to like, you get feedback, whether from yourself, your peers, or like an intimate group, right? And like, then it starts to evolve and the idea kind of matures into what it is. So it's funny. I bet people looking back, they've been following you for a while, are like, wow, the evolution of Jake's page has been an evolution. You didn't have it from day one.
Oh yeah, 100%. It was, I kind of had this vision in my head. I remember very vividly kind of knowing what I wanted to achieve, what it like, I wanted to make really cool golf content that somehow involved music and was, just had this like vibe to it. I just vividly remember that. Didn't really know how it would work itself out, how it would kind of manifest. And so, but I remember someone, there was a comment and it was like, as I got feedback around that, it was kind of like slowly, like, I want to say there was a comment after I've been doing this maybe for like a year or two, and someone was like, oh yeah, he like the song is the tip. And it really wasn't yet. It was like kind of, but that was like with the light bulb. It was like someone that commented on it. I was like, holy fuck. What if the comment was the tip? And that's when it was like,
yeah,
let's see how, like, let's make a song that is the tip. And then, kind of show these kind of fun new, better angles, maybe some more close-ups. And I think initially that was just the thought. And then over time, started getting really into cameras. And like I was like,
what year was this? Give us a context point.
This was, so I really started like when COVID hit. That's when I was able to really spend like lots of time. I mean, all my time on content, stuck inside. I had to like, all the courses were closed, so you couldn't teach. You could play.
To interrupt you for 1 sec. Sorry.
Yeah.
So just so we can get so before COVID though, you are the traditional PGA style of teaching.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm just showing up at the golf course and like
taking lessons.
Giving lessons.
Yeah, that's
closing the shop, opening up the shop, doing my PGA work. I was your typical assistant pro, and I was constantly editing videos behind the desk and running off and getting yelled at, and all those things. And then yeah, when COVID hit, that's when it was like, all right, well, I need to make some fucking money. Let's like pour everything into content and like video. And it was just like literally having 24 hours a day while you're also, like out here in the Bay Area, everyone's freaking out, and as they should. You're like, am I going to die? Am I going to fucking whatever? Like, this is, so it was like all the effort, I'd be up at 5 a.m. and I'd be working till like 8 p.m, just putting shit together, making videos, thinking about how to do it better, doing a ton of online lessons. And at that time, before there was like any of the, like the subscriber stuff on Instagram, there were close friends. So I tried to monetize close friends. So I created a paywall. And it was just like, go here, pay me. It was like, I don't know, $5 a month or whatever, and to be a part of my close friends. And then as people signed up, I would add them to the close friends. And essentially it was like my, beta version of subscriber.
Oh, wow. That's, so it was like awesome, learning, dude. I didn't know that. That's great.
So yeah, it was just like learning. I was like, okay, well, like here I am. Like I really know nothing about anything. So it was like YouTube University all day. Like let's make a a paywall. What is that? What the fuck does that word even mean? And so it was just like that was when to me, it was like when, my back was really to the fucking wall. Like there was just, it was terrifying. It was like, I have no idea, you've got your, like your normal students and you've got your, whatever, your day to day. And so now it's like, no money's coming in. What the fuck now? Which is like, to me, it's always like, you hear a lot of stories. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs and people that end up kind of jumping over that first hump, like are faced with that, like your back's against the wall, like figure it the fuck out. There just aren't any other options. And I'm not going to go get a fucking 9 to 5 because I've tried that and not even like just I applied to the worst fucking jobs on planet Earth, and they're like, you're not you're not it, dog. So I was like,
that's funny, dude. You don't know my story. I don't think you do. You know, and this for anyone that's new here. First of all, I'll say congratulations. I think there are two types of entrepreneurs. There's like the dreamer, hoper, wisher that doesn't really know what to do, and then there's the one that's like, you know, as my father always said, necessity is the mother of all invention. So when your back is against that wall and you got like, I got to put food on the table, I got to pay fucking bills. You'll be surprised what you can manifest and conjure up in that space. And that's how I started MULLIE, dude. I've been, MULLIE's not my first venture. I've had a couple companies before that. I think a few people listening know that. But in one of my ventures took a tank, like it tanked. When I say tank, I mean, I was left holding a big bag that I had to find my way out of and pay off debts. And the one way to start that was I was selling like Mura irons and some collector's items that I had in my garage. And I was going to eBay and I was like, man, this is just crazy that I'm paying them 12.5% when it's meant for like knickknacks, like keychains and garage sale items, not golf clubs. And that's when that light bulb went off. Like, I'm going to build a better way to do it. And like, that's kind of literally necessity is the mother of invention. So I really applaud you for that, because that look what it created.
Yeah. When you have no choice, it's pretty cool. Like I think, yeah, like it's, me being I don't know if I have ADHD, but it certainly seems like that, where it's like, until there's like, I need like a fucking hard deadline, and the closer it gets, you know what I mean? Like the more I'm like, all right, let's like, it's fucking go time.
Scrappy. Get it done. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, and I think hockey had a lot to do with that too. Like, you know, you just have to be fucking tenacious. You just have to fucking keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going and just fail and fail and fail and fail. But I mean, I just always, anyway, so don't want to get off too far on that fucking tangent. Where were we?
So how you created that page? Well, you were just taking us through the start of the
paywall to close friends. Yeah. So that was kind of the start for me, where it was just like, okay, like there's so many cool like ways to make, and like that it started working. People were paying, and like I was literally just in my fucking tiny little apartment, you know, like girlfriend at the time was, you know, she'd be on Zoom calls and I'd be in the kitchen, like fucking doing all this weird shit. And she, you know, she'd have to mute and fucking tell me to shut the fuck up. And it was just like this, it was just chaos. Like I'd be, you know, just working on these skits and then giving swing tips and then doing Zooms and then also trying to keep up with the, you know, the close friends, while trying to grow the page. And I also, at the time I started, so you couldn't teach, but you could play. So I set up another paywall, or another little form, I should say, where you could essentially, the lesson was on the golf course, right? So I was like, all right, fuck it. Like I can't teach on the course. I hate teaching on the course, or I hate teaching on the fucking driving range anyway. So let's just go play golf. And so ironically, one of the people that signed up was this woman named Randi Zuckerberg. And so she's might have heard of Mark Zuckerberg's sister. So I was teaching her for like, well, she showed up, and she's the most amazing human ever. Shows up, and I like was expecting a dude, Randy. I'm looking at the name. I'm just so fucking stupid. I don't put anything together. Nor do I care, nor would I act any different. But anyways, she showed up with one club in her bag, and she was just like,
what club was it?
It was like I want to say, no, two clubs. It was a putter and a hybrid. So
that's the range almost. You got a lot of range there.
Literally putter and a hybrid, right? And so like I'm like, all right, well, we've got our work cut out for us today, and we essentially just started. We get the last tee time of the day every week, and I said it was just like teaching impact location on a real golf course with a real tee with real balls. I tell her to bring, you know, a box full of like 50 shitty balls, because it was like, we're not going to look for these ever. If it goes out of bounds, we're not looking for it. You're teeing up another one. We're trying to maximize, you know, the amount of reps you get. So essentially taught her how to play golf at Baylands, which is, you know, just this public golf course down the street, big kind of link style golf course. So there's no rough. You really, losing a ball is tough. And so we did that. And for like, you know, I was teaching her for like 4 months. And during this time, I'd given this lesson to this guy, who essentially, his name was Adil, who who founded Drivebox, and he stopped me halfway through this lesson and pitched me on Drivebox, pitched me on mobile golf, this, the whole thing. And I'm like, fucking absolutely, like, let's go. And little did I know, he'd been taking lessons from people, all over looking for a co-founder. And so it was like a fucking job interview. I had no idea, but, apparently it must've been a good lesson. And so anyway, we start driving the fucking thing around, literally just pulling it up to people's houses. People would come out, they'd get a lesson. We'd pull on to the next place. Like, we were giving lessons on the side of the street in San Francisco, like downtown San Francisco. Like, people would pop out of their apartments, and like literally we'd be in like blocking a fucking lane of traffic and just like, does this work? Like, so fast forward,
cones. You guys go around. We're giving a lesson. You
exactly,
go around.
We're giving a golf lesson. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so I invite Randi again, who I have no idea who she is at the time. She's just an amazing person. Love teaching her. So much fun to be around. And I just had this inkling. I'm like, I just want to show her this because it's, it's just so cool. Thinking nothing of it. And we'd park this thing at Stanford University, which is just right down the street from me, and kind of test it out. And, kids would come and they'd plan it. And obviously it's a good place to have a new product. You just never know who's going to walk in there. So anyways, one day we're there, Randi comes with her son, Asher, little legend. And, the first thing Randi, when she walks up and she goes, "How can I invest?" And again, we don't know who she is. And so we're kind of like beating around the bush, because the deal is, he's sold 2 companies before this already. And, he knows, like, I think the only information I gave him was that, like, she had a podcast or something, or like a serious show. So, he's just like, we're not taking in, investors at the time, whatever.
Yeah.
And we end up taking, like, they loved it, had a great time, ended up taking a picture with them. And then I end up tagging them. And I think she posts something too. And I get a bunch of these DMs, and my buddies are like, "Dude, you know who that is?" And I was like, oh. And I get a call from a deal that night, and he's like, "Why didn't you tell me that was Randi?" And so that was like our, and I mean, obviously I think we're still very close friends. We go on golf trips and hang out. We've, done Vegas and all these fucking cool things, me, Deal, and her. And I'm assuming it's just because she knew that we had no fucking idea. She was like, "Wow, you are such an idiot," but also like, "I know you don't know, who I am." So we've got this amazing friendship now. And she was our first investor anyways. That was kind of where the story was going.
Wow.
She was our first investor, wrote the first check for Drivebox. And that's kind of like, I guess where that started.
That's a great segue into kind of this next focus of what I want to talk about. I can't talk. I swear I can. I know English. Golf, dude. Like, again, this is the thread, right? I'm going to start weaving the thread in all these episodes. Golf possesses a magic that, and this is my belief. Everyone can attack me if you want. I refer to golf as this goddess. If you're familiar with Stephen Pressfield at all, amazing author. The War of Art, he wrote that, and a few others that are blanking my name. But he was the screenwriter, he wrote Legend of Bagger Vance. Long way of saying, he refers to creativity and this muse as energy, a force, and I refer to golf as like the same thing. I think when we as golfers, when we the community kind of like creates this space of honesty, respect, like it just starts giving you these connections and relationships and like this, it's a reciprocal energy. And as woo as that sounds, man, like I feel like you in that place, if you look at the dots that I'm going to plot, find golf because you're an athlete and you love golf and you want to do it. You're a teaching pro, but you know that there's more to you, like a creative side. There's the artistic side, the music side, and then COVID hits, and then all of a sudden you have this kind of shut down, get creative, figure it out, and then you're just constantly showing up in this space. And as golf is rewarding you with these kind of leveling you up, and then bang, Randi Zuckerberg comes in and wants to invest and is an investor in your company. It's kind of it's a miraculous story if you really kind of take a second and pull yourself out of it and look at it from a 40,000 foot view of what you've done. Because people probably don't even know this.
It's that was looking back on it, it was just like you kind of, I feel like you get in this, like once you're in that, like just, I don't know what to call it, like the zone where you're just like, you have this thing, how much work it's going to take. You get, you find like a couple of the dots get connected, you get a little bit of momentum, the ball starts rolling. It's just like nonstop, just go, 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 go. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't really reflected on it too much. And that kind of like, I think it's a really cool thing to kind of try and zoom out a little bit and think back on like how fucking crazy the story really is.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're now, I guess, fast forward, that was 2020, 2023, 3 years. Now we've got 12 boxes out there. And
wow.
And so like I was just in Vero Beach, Florida. We just launched out there. So we've got, 2 in San Francisco. We've got 1 in Central California, Visalia, 1 in San Diego. I think we have 3 in Utah now. We've got South Carolina, we've got Houston and Vero Beach, and then Arizona's going to be coming up soon. And, hopefully we were just talking to someone in, I'll just say another country, who wants to franchise that whole country, or who wants to not franchise, they want to whatever own that territory,
that region.
So there's some buzz, and the goal is to go internationally and to have these things literally everywhere. So
that's quite brilliant though, because not everybody has not. And so I had a question though on that. Are you like single-handedly selecting the type of style of coach and professional you put in the boxes?
So I mean, a lot of the people, I mean, really right now, I'd say it's more of, I mean, the majority of revenue comes from events, big events, corporate events. Like we've done everything from Genesis. We've the last 2 years at a RIV, obviously, the Genesis Invitational. We've done the LA Auto Show. We were there for 10 days. Same client with Genesis, they just do big build out, part of their, you walk in, see the cars, close to the pin, great. So we write the software that goes over, you essentially hit your 3 shots. There's a prize all week. Your third shot gets you get a video shareable, which is all branded by, whoever the client is. You see the third shot, you see your swing, you see where the ball goes. And then, they have, wherever their whatever they want you to click on is in there too. So that's kind of like our big, like the big activation. We were at the Memorial this last year. We've been, and now it's just, people are starting to hear about us. So lots of these golf activations or these product launches. We just did Lulu. We were down in LA with Lululemon. They launched their whole golf line. And so we wrapped the full box with their, like, the graphics that they wanted. That was all part of their branding. And we were there for 2 days.
This is fucking brilliant, Jake. This is like absolutely brilliant. So this is not even necessarily just teaching. This is like for it's almost like a mobile version of like it's a simulator. Just like take the simulator wherever you want for any event, for any purpose.
Yeah. The teaching is, so our guy in Brandon down in South Carolina, he was our first guy, and he's such a fucking legend. He's been teaching forever. Saw this thing and was like, fucking give me one. I want to take this thing and run wild with it. And so he's probably, the majority of our partners so far they're not instructors, they're just entrepreneurs. And so they're like, you take it, you essentially, you make money however you want. We've got essentially a full manual that explains, like how to do everything. It's like, you get this big toy, here's 400 pages of best practices and what we've learned. But I guess to simplify it, the majority of what we do, like if you're getting one, like the corporate money is obviously a whole lot better. The margins are a whole lot better than just teaching. However, when you're not using it as, for an event, we've also got a self-operational mode. So it essentially, you show up or you would book, and then you show up and you get a code and you walk in, and now it's your whole studio, do whatever you want with it. You don't need a teacher. I've got, and this isn't built into it yet, but the whole idea would be to have a big library full of content that explains how to interpret the different numbers, right? So they all come with TrackMan. We're not married to TrackMan, but like kind of the vision here is 99% of lessons that I'm giving, there's like 4 or 5 numbers, right? Like you've got your path, your low point, your face to path, impact location, and then ball flight. You don't even need ball flight if you understand the numbers, right? The majority, like face to path and path, or like if you understand those numbers and you can hit the middle of the face, hit the ground in the right place, low point, then like it's really fucking simple. So It's like the majority of the lessons I give are like, your path is fine. Maybe your low point's a little bit too far behind the ball, but it's understanding like these core 5 numbers. And if you can understand those core 5 numbers, like what the fuck do you need me for? You don't. Just show up, practice, and just get the number, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all a skill. I don't give a shit where.
I feel like you're there more for emotional support, entertainment.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just like, someone's sitting there and they're like, they got their swing, whatever, and like, 99% of people in the Bay Area here, they're young professionals. They're practicing once a week, maybe twice a week. They're playing once a week, and they obviously they want to get better, but like, I'm not going to have them change their fucking swing. Like, you need, so much time for that. If you want to go ahead and, try and change your swing, like, you don't have time for it. So it's just like in my head, it's like I mean, granted, it makes sense for the business model as well. But if I can get like, and I'm still working on like the perfect like 10 videos where it's just like, start here, go here, go here, go here. If you understand, learn how to, essentially it's about manipulating. Like I look at it like you've got your pass, like every student comes in, it's like, all right, hit the toe, hit the heel, hit the middle, like try and hit high in the face, low in the face, essentially hit everywhere, explore the outer boundaries of everything, right? So it's to find the middle, hit everywhere but the middle. Then it's all right, path. Do you understand path? I might bring a noodle in, stick it behind them, swing over the noodle, under the noodle. That's in to out, that's out to in. The bigger the negative number, the more out to in. The bigger the positive number, the more in to out. A 0, somewhere in between. Perfect. You can do both those, great. If you can do both those, then you can figure your shit out on the fucking course, right? Yeah. Face angle, very simple. Your face can be closed, it can be open, it can be square. And then it's understanding the relationship between path and face. You want to hit a fade, you want to hit a draw. Path needs to be halfway in between the target line and the path. So fucking simple. Here are the numbers. Like, done. Low point, hit the ground after the ball with an iron, hit the ground before the ball with the driver. You want to hit further below, before the ball, and then,
so this is all out of the box teaching you're going to give like content in these boxes so people can basically be self-taught or kind of go about it yourself.
So inside the box, there's a total of 5 screens in these boxes. You've got 2 screens on the outside, right? Those like the party screens, which you can put like movies or you can put whatever you want up. Or you can put what's going on the inside. You can put the TrackMan. You can put what, there goes my dusty light. And then you've got 2 TVs on the inside, right? And so the TV, you have a TV in front of you, and then obviously you're hitting into a screen. And so you can kind of mess around with what you have on the screens, but the idea would be the screen in front of you is the content you're looking at, or maybe you just pull it up on your phone too. But it'd be ideal to have a nice big screen in front of you, and you're going through this library, touch screen, like, okay, like I want to start here. And it's kind of like this, it's like a McDonald's-fied version of golf instruction, right? Where it's like, it's you get a box, and you want to run this self-op. So when you're not doing events, you have a, like, I don't want to hire an instructor. I don't want to look for one. I just want it when it's parking. I want it to make money. So how do I do that? I like a golf vending machine, right? You go in there. It's like, start here, here, maybe the first. And so my goal is to have this, like, to really test it. And I've started to do it. But like just have the perfect, like, bite-sized lessons, the perfect amount of information where anyone can go up. Someone who's just started and understand, how to hold it, what is a swing, and do it in like the simplest way possible. So like my definition of a swing is like literally just throw the club over your right shoulder, throw it over your left shoulder, end up on your right toe, and hear a whoosh. That's literally it. Now, when people do that, different shit shows up.
I wish it was that simple.
Your natural swing may show up depending on what everything you've done as a human up until that point. So some people's paths are a little bit more out to in, some are a little bit more in to out. And sure, let's say they're swinging 10 degrees from the outside. It's like, okay, you need to get within this range before you move on to the next thing. Okay, we get you to whatever, stick the noodle there. You go from -10 to -5. All right, great. Your shot shape should be a fade. So all you need to do is your face angle needs to read this number for the ball to end up here. If it reads this, you're going to be too far there. If it's that, you're going to be too far there. Do more of this or less of that, and just, you know what I mean? And fucking go practice. Like, so, but obviously it's not that simple, but I think it can be. And so that's kind of really what I'm trying to figure out is what that content looks like. How long the videos are. Maybe there's like, I don't know exactly what it looks like yet, but that's the goal, is to be able to walk in there and like order a cheeseburger and fucking have it done and have a great session.
Now, marrying these two worlds, right? So dry box, brilliant idea. I mean, like, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm already thinking, how can we do like a MULLIE drive box where there's like because and I'm not gonna get on that tangent right now. We'll talk about that later. But
yeah, let me know. We can make it happen.
no, because dude, we get invited to all these events and they're like, how can we do something with MULLIE? And like have people bring their clubs. I don't know. Maybe it's a hybrid of get a quick lesson, bring clubs for a ticket. Anyway, again, side note. Sorry, guys. We're doing entrepreneur stuff right now. I was gonna ask you a question that was important. Oh yeah. So this content, right? Like obviously content that you're putting on social and online, like that's almost like a lead generator into Drivebox because they're finding you and you're a big figure and you have this type of content that people want to see to get better. I think that I have, and not to get too far off topic here, Jake, but in a different world, I was in a consultant from a marketing consultant, and people would always ask, how do I grow my account, or how do I grow this funnel, or how do I create a digital funnel? I'm like, well, you got to do three things well. You got to teach, you got to inspire, you got to entertain. And you're doing all of those things into one bucket because you're teaching and it's entertaining and it's inspiring because I can get better. So you're really marrying all these things into one piece of content. And so I'm curious to go back to that for a second. Like, how is that something you're going to keep doing? Is that something you like doing? And how long does it take you to make one of those?
Yeah, I mean, that's my favorite part. Like my favorite thing in the world is literally like making these videos. Like I love the music part is always what comes first. For the most part, very rarely sometimes I'll have like some extra B-roll and I'll try to figure out what can I do with this. But like for the ones that I like, the song tips, the song always comes first. And that's like, I just love, I mean, I didn't have anything to write about before really. It's like, so golf just gives me something to write about, something to rhyme about. So I just like those videos that are on social. That's like, I fucking love doing that. What I'll say quickly is the numbers part. That part is just like, I'm giving these lessons for people that I'm assuming obviously they're not on Launch Monitor, right? They're going out on the range. They just need really simple things to mess around with. Now, obviously, not everything's going to work for everyone, but I try and keep it like in my head. It's like, how can I say this thing that would work for the most amount of people? Even if it's like, I know what's obviously like in the backswing, like maybe you're not doing this, you're not exactly doing that, but it'll feel like that. And you know what I mean? So like, that's kind of what those are for. And those are the most fun things for me because most people don't have access to numbers. Now, obviously my goal is to give everyone access to this great information, to TrackMan with, as drive boxes pop up. So more people can go in there and kind of take these feels and then understand, oh, that feel does this to me or that feel does that. And actually know, because everyone, I mean, as we know, it's as complicated as it is. It's so, I mean, at the end of the day, you're swinging from either out to in to out, your face is closed, your face is open. That's kind of it. But anyways, so yeah, absolutely love the Instagram videos will never go away. That's like my favorite thing ever to do. The music, the video part, like I love the skits, kind of the whole bit is like, I love it.
It's a true expression of your personality, which I think is awesome. The more authentic you can be online, the more authentic you can be in the world with Drivebox, with anything, guys. I think that's a huge takeaway too, is I think the success you've experienced, Jake, and you can tell me to fuck off and I'm wrong. But like, I think a lot of the success people experience in the world is because they tap into their natural God-given gift. And for you, I think it's a passion and love for music and your creation and your artistic abilities and golf. And you're just marrying that and putting it for people to see. I think that's just
yeah, I mean, it's funny, like looking back on, like, for me, I was never a big video game guy. Like I always loved doing something. So like, oftentimes that wasn't going to class. It was instead like during, like in college, like I fucking never went to class. I was like in my room, like making beats and making music. And like, same thing with working in the, like in the shop, like, should I have been like, I don't know, attending to customers better? Probably, but I was in the corner fucking editing videos, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's always been for me. And I really don't know if this is good, like, advice, but it's like, I've just literally since day one, like I've just done what the fuck I wanted to do and kind of followed that like drive. It was always, it was like, it was always something, whether it was music, I was always working toward it because I just love fucking learning. I love just, I don't know. I've got like my head has to be doing something. Otherwise I'm fucking bored. Right. So yeah, that's like just from day one, it was like, I like music. I'm just gonna fucking play. Even like with hockey, like I'd have a fucking game the next day and be up to like 4 a.m. making a fucking song, and like that, like not good. But I just, I'm kind of stuck.
Not good. Got a game.
Literally, I'm just kind of stuck with that. Even like same thing. It was like, oh, I've got to go to class. I'm like, fuck, it's freezing outside. I'd rather make this song, because I honestly, in the back of my head, I think my subconscious was telling me like, I don't think you're going to be a psychologist. You're probably not. Now, ironically, it's like golf and coaching. Like there's definitely that. And I did show up to a lot of those psychology classes. I didn't show up to pretty much all the other ones. But yeah, it's just kind of funny looking back. Like what I just always followed that. Like if I don't like it, I'm not going to spend time on it. So I'm not going to fuck with it. If I do like this thing, I'm going to go with it, but I'm going to give it everything I have. Like it's just pure obsession with messing around and being okay failing at it until it gets good. So I've done that now, I think, with enough things. So I really understand kind of what that learning process looks like, how fucking long it takes, how much effort it takes. But you really like and you hear this all over on all the fucking inspirational social media channels, all that is like without the motivation, it's just you have to fucking love something and actually enjoy doing it, actually enjoy doing the process to actually be any good at it. Which I think making money is a whole different thing. Like you can, but anyways, that's kind of always been my motto.
I couldn't agree more, man. Like there are so many days, like people would laugh if they knew how hard it was to build MULLIE, and like you're building Drybox and your personal channel. Like there's so many days, and don't get me wrong, I'm blessed, man. Like I'm so fucking lucky to be building MULLIE and doing that. Now we're on year 2. But people would be shocked how hard it is, and this like the customer service we deal with, and like there are days when I'm like, I don't question it ever, Jake. Like I know the juice is worth the squeeze because it's something I love to do, because I get to wake up and do something I love. But it's hard. So, and you're right. Without that passion, without that like bigger why, I call it that why. Most people give up. But enough about me. I have 3 more questions before. Like I know you got to go.
No, it's all good. I was just gonna say. To that end, I was on that exact same note about why the fuck do I do this? I was driving back
why do you do it?
From LA on Highway 5. I don't know if you've ever been on Highway 5 from
I'm from Los Angeles. I know California really well.
Oh fuck yeah. So you got like 5 is fucking long, and like there's like a stretch where there aren't many gas stations, right? So I look up on the way back when I was driving it back from this Lulu LA event, and it's like I'm so fucking bagged. It's been like I've been down there for a fucking week, doing the U.S. Open and this and that, just ready to get home. And I look up like 4.5 hours into the drive, and it's in the middle of fucking nowhere on 5, and I've got like 9 miles to empty. The next gas station's like fucking 13 miles. So I'm in this big ass fucking box on 5, right? And I'm like, well, probably not going to fucking get to gas stations, but so I slowed down, like was driving like 40, and eventually like I'm like 6 miles away from the nearest gas station. I have to fucking pull over. Every truck that's fucking driving by, like the whole thing is just like for 2 hours until the fucking till AAA came, and they only give you $6 worth of gas. So
that's like another 2 miles.
And $8 worth of gas. And so I'm like, how much? Like I sign, he's like, that's going to be $8. And I'm like, how much gas did you put in there? He's like, yeah, we're only required to put $8 of gas. And I'm like, well, I may be hitting you up again very soon. Luckily, it's funny. I was down there for the U.S. Open week with a good friend of mine, Justin Eldridge, who's a pro skater, skated for Girl, fucking good friend of mine. Started this other golf company, Number 33, the flavored toothpicks. I don't know if you've seen those; they're fucking sick. Mm-hmm. But I was down there filming. It was essentially like my first like kind of long form produced content with it was like his U.S. Open week, right? And so like I don't know if you saw the what fuck am I word I'm trying to think of the Topgolf activation at the skate Topgolf activation. We did the fucking half pipe at the Topgolf in El Segundo.
I didn't see that.
So like Topgolf had that big fucking U.S. Open party, like fucking bunch of people were there. They literally so Justin had one of his buddies build this fucking ramp and then tagged it all with like number 33 Top Golf stuff. So like there's this I'll send you some pictures.
Yeah, please.
But essentially it was like there's all this shit going on, and I was down there for a week filming it for his YouTube channel. And yeah, anyways, on the way back from all that, I'm literally on the side of the road, fucking stuck there, editing this video with all these fucking trucks, like, it was actually kind of nice because I had to get it done like
You're like, I love
like,
this
2 days, and I'm like, yeah, literally so fucking tired editing a video. Like, it's like, am I gonna die? Like, if a fucking truck comes and fucking like sideswipes me, I'm fucked. But I'm gonna get this video done.
Yeah. Well, that's where the why comes in. That's where the why comes in.
Things you do.
So I know you've got to go, but I have to ask you these questions before you go because this is probably one of the more
it's all good.
important
We go over
ones.
a little bit. All good.
Cool. So I got 3 left for you. Two are, it's a hybrid question. So it would be, when you look like a few years down the line, right? Like when you take that moment to look back and now you look down the line, what's next for Jake Hutt and like professionally, but personally in the golf space, and then also for Drive Box? Like if you could, in the perfect world, then what do you feel?
God, yeah, I don't ever, I don't ever look too far. Like 3 days out is about as far as I'll go. Like I read that. I don't know if you ever read Atomic Habits, James Clear. Like it just kind of in my head, I'm just purely processed. Like we've got very smart people on Drive Box that, have all that figured out. Like for me, it's just process. In the end, whatever the fuck that is will happen. And I don't really fucking care what it is, to be honest.
That's great advice. That's great. That's a great mindset.
It's just like, I can't, obviously I think setting goals is important. I've literally never set a goal in my life. I just like, if I'm going to go 180% with what I'm kind of currently doing, I think, God, I don't know if it sounds stupid. Everything will take care of itself. Like, so I guess my answer is I have no fucking clue. Like, ideally Drive Box continues to grow. We expand. We have lots of them in the near future, and we continue to grow, continue to get better at what we do, all that. For what I do, the goal is just to continually get a little bit better every day, make the videos a little better. Each video I make, I try and learn a little bit from the previous one. There's always something. That process literally never ends. Sometimes there's definitely, I'll make something and I'll look at it later and be like, that wasn't great, but still putting it out there, I think is definitely the most important thing.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
For the tips?
Yeah.
So I'd say for the tips, like I've always loved reading, like I read some wacky shit. Like this book right here, this is Michael Jacobs. Like he essentially hired a mechanical engineer for like, I don't know, the last like 20 years. Dr. Stephen Nesbitt. And like, so he just like, he's got all this, like, I love reading just like the weirdest shit, like science journals, and kind of like, I try and get my information just from like places that I think people aren't looking at necessarily or understanding. Not to say that I understand fucking all of this, but I try to. So like, I don't know, like he's got these kind of cool graphs here, and he talks a lot about like fucking weird shit like this. Like, talks a lot about
have you heard of Fred Shoemaker?
Sounds familiar. I haven't looked into any of his stuff.
Golf coach. He wrote Extraordinary Golf. Please check that out. I think you would love it. Just the way he thinks, his mindset, and how he approaches teaching. It's like for my first lesson, I was throwing golf clubs into a field for an hour, like throwing. So
yeah. So like kind of from that stuff, like a lot of stuff like Sasha McKenzie too. It's really like I went down the kind of the kinetics route, where it's just like I want to understand like just some simple physics. Like I'm moving an object. Like I don't want to. And I started from all of like the old school. So like I bought every old school book imaginable, all the fucking like the Jack Nicklaus, the fucking Arnold Palmer, the like all of those old school books I started, and kind of where I'm at now is like, okay, like I just want to understand, like I'm moving this thing, and there's like, physics explains like kind of how an object works. So like, let's understand like a force, let's understand a torque, let's understand like center of mass. When you apply a force, like the center of mass is going to have some, it's going to move like this, and then you've got to have, a torque is going to move it back. So like, that's just, moving, like to me, it that's been really fun for me, is kind of diving down a lot of these rabbit holes and, attempting to understand it, asking lots of questions. Do I understand all of it? Absolutely not. So I try, yeah, I mean, I guess to answer your question, that's a lot of my inspiration is like, I'm going to try and get some information from some weird places. And then I want to, try applying it myself, ask a bunch of questions, attempt to understand it, and then make it applicable to everyone.
I love that.
That to me, like,
that's awesome.
kind of pumps me up, as opposed to, I just see like now I see the same tip, 18,000 times, kind of in this, like, in very similar ways, which, not to fucking hate on anyone at all, like, do your thing. Everyone still has their, their own voice, and really everyone is slightly different, but, I'm trying to, just to, I guess, throw something out there that maybe you haven't heard, or maybe it's said in a way that's like really different than the next person. That's becoming harder to do, as there's more creators out there doing awesome stuff, awesome work. But that,
that's what I loved about your page, Jake. I think you said it perfectly. There's just so many people teaching how the shallowing out, or speed, or tips for speed, or how to the early extension. Like when you go to your page, it's not maybe a different lesson is entirety, but it's a different message, or how to do it, or how the feelings of it are different. I think that's part of your genius.
Thank you. Yeah. The ground reaction force stuff to me is fascinating. That's still like blows people, like that, like the twist, like the video that hands down has done the best. I fucking posted it twice, but it's like to twist, to get your hips open, you've got to like twist your feet close. That's always fun, and kind of just like a fun hack for me, is like, it's just such a fucking mind fuck, the whole ground reaction force. Like, so it really fun, is, like throwing socks on and like, and just kind of experimenting with that, and trying to get people to think a little bit different, giving some simple drills and all that. That to me, like when I went down that rabbit hole and kind of like understood the three planes of motions, the pushing, the torquing, the vertical, the horizontal, that stuff was so much for me it was so, I mean, learning golf, as frustrating as it is, it's like when you get that like light bulb moment, it's just such a fun thing to learn and mess around with and experiment with. So it's and it's just so fucking hard too. Like,
fucking hard.
So it's a never ending quest, obviously, but I guess, just, continue to push the envelope. Everyone out there makes such good stuff. So it's like always a constant battle to try and stay, just try and stay on top of and continue to, push the boundaries and all that stuff. So,
Yep. Well, my man, I got my final question for you, if you're ready for it. This is the big one. And again, I want to go back and just say thank you, dude. I think your time as a creator, your time as an entrepreneur, and just person in the world, I know it's valuable. So I just giving it to us and the listeners. I really do appreciate that. And your story is just so unique, man. I think that there's so many learning lessons in here, from just perseverance, showing up, being authentic, abiding by what your strengths are and what your passions are, and kind of just leaning into it, whether that be through necessity, being the mother of that invention, or just through perseverance. So I want to thank you before I get to that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been an awesome conversation, man.
I really love it. I mean, I love to approach it like this too. Like, rather than rapid fire questions, just have a conversation around your love affair with golf. I think that's what it is. And like I said, when I started it, I don't know yours. So I'm learning with the listeners on the fly here. I'll get to know before them, but still. All right. Well, to wrap it up, man, so you can take a minute too. I won't edit it. Just take a minute. When you look at it all, Jake, and like you look back at your life, and look back at the path, and look back at the gifts that golf has given you. The golf, the sport, the muse, the activity, the hobby, whatever. What does it mean to you? And well, let me ask this again. So what does golf mean to you? And what more do you wish to, like, what more magic do you wish to attain from it and give to other people?
Yeah. I think you said it perfectly. And I don't know if I've ever really heard anyone kind of say it like you did. And I mean, to me, it's just like, I was in an Uber, literally, I think it was 2 days ago, probably hammered. No, it definitely was. And it was like, I was talking to this dude, some random fucking dude, like, it was like, we got talking about golf, and I don't think the guy had ever played golf before. But I was just like, golf's the fucking cheat code, dude. Like, it literally is like just the doors that it opens up, the people you meet. It's just like this, it just knocks down all these barriers and just makes everything like there's no other way to put it. I mean, like, you put it in those beautiful words. To me, it's like, it's the cheat code. So it's just like, you talk to people, you would not normally talk to. You learn things from people that are, have, all the success in the world. And like, it's just this like amazing, community of people that just, it's like, you just never know who the fuck you're going to run into on,
right. Yeah.
Who's going to be that fourth person in the foursome, or like, you might meet like your fucking best friend showing up as a single on, whatever Saturday morning.
Yep.
It's just like, the people that I think are interested in the game are obviously like, you've got to be a certain psychopath to really love it.
Fact.
You've got to have, you got to like, to be a golfer and to stick with it. I think there are a lot of character traits that you have to have, which, maybe I've never really thought of it like that, but like, that's, to me, like, you're out there on Saturday morning, you're probably going to be really frustrated by the end of the day. Or, I mean, if you're that type of golfer, or if you don't care like me, I don't give a fuck about, I rarely keep score. I'm just out there to fucking have fun, film myself, and, have some beers, whatever. But at the same time, it's like, it does take a certain type of person to be out there. And so like, there's just so many different people that, that you do run into and that you do meet.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful thing in the world. It's just like, it's like opting to like just go down this weird, like, become part of this, I can't even really put it into words, but like this weird, mysterious journey that like, you just never know. It's a fucking trip. So
I love that answer. And that I really, again, like, I appreciate your time, and I'm glad our paths cross, and I wouldn't be shocked if we find a way to work together in some capacity moving forward, because I love your creativity. I love your passion for the game, dude. I just love your spirit. So I mean that with all sincerity, and I'm super happy that our paths crossed.
Yeah, likewise. This was incredible. Great conversation. Thanks so much for having me on. And yeah, let's get in touch, and I'd love to figure out a way to get a drive box to you, and to do some fun shit, because that's what it's all about. We've done some
we have our main office in Rockville, Maryland, but I'm in Nashville. My office is in Nashville, and if there was a need for a drive box anywhere, I'm telling you, it's Nashville. So we definitely got to talk about that.
We do definitely. I can I'll connect you with the right people.
Well, brother, thank you so much for your time, man, and we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely appreciate it.